Welcome everyone to the much vaunted, much awaited finals of the Spring Split for Coalition League, our first split here, and we are going to be able to spectate a beautiful game between first place MG Blaze and second place Rawr Rampage. I'm Random Minion Caster, and casting alongside me for game one tonight will be Adderant Luna. How you doing, Luna?
I'm doing good. Waiting to see how this rivalry is going to end finally.
Yeah, we've seen MG Blaze and Rawr go at it multiple times through the league. In fact, they did meet in the last week of the round robin where they were playing to contest the first spot. But MG Blaze so far getting Rampage's number, winning all their head-to-head matches thus far. And now that we're in the finals, they'll get one last chance here in this best of five. And one thing to note is Pro Draft is still down right now today, so we will be using a different program here to get the picks and bans done, and it might they're just having a little technical difficulties getting that ready as well. But in the meantime, Luna, what do you think about the two teams going into the finals here?
Man, I don't know. They've both had really solid seasons. For the most part, they've played immaculate games. The only games that Rawr's lost, as far as I'm aware, is MG Blaze, except for like one game during quarterfinals. But I mean, aside from that, they've had pretty much an immaculate season. MG Blaze so far still has the perfect season, which is extremely rare. So we're going to have to see if they can keep it up and go for the perfect split sweep, or if Rawr's going to finally shut them down.
Yeah, for sure. And speaking of the perfect split, there Rawr dropping games only to MG Blaze in one game in a best of five against the Shadow Keepers thus far. So certainly Rawr Rampage looking a little shakier, but last week did see a bit of a change in terms of both teams here. MG Blaze switching up their usual 4-1 composition to a full five-man team fight composition, and Rawr doing much the same for their game one and game two here. So we'll be very interested in seeing how that goes. And the picks and bans have started. The bans coming out fast here. MG Blaze starting with a Silas ban right off the bat here.
Yeah, it's a very strong pick, and then Rampage firing off with the Syndra ban.
Yeah, I definitely don't want Zyra to get a hold of that Syndra, who's been playing through most of the split here. And the second ban coming out of MG Blaze going to be that Senna ban, targeted potentially at the bot lane. Now, Vladimir coming out for Rawr, and we have seen teams target ban Zyra across all five bans. That happened last week against 100 Weebs. Is Rampage going to do the same thing here?
Possibly. I don't know. I mean, because if you target ban Zyra, you still have to worry about Dirty Hobo and Bubble Lift. Both have been able to definitely put in their work,
Yeah. And that has been what Blaze has been doing, is allowing that bot lane to carry them. Zyra being insurance for late game if he can get his Vlad or his Cassiopeia, or mid-game menace with that Syndra, but it will be banned. And the last ban coming out of both teams here will be Trundle for the side of MG Blaze and Misfortune for the side of Rampage. So they will want to send something Bubble Lift's way, but it won't matter because Bubble Lift going to first pick that Caitlyn into the bot lane here.
Yeah, it's we've seen Bubble Lift do some scary things with Caitlyn this split.
Yeah, we just have the range advantage in lane, and out of lane will be able to keep safe. Rampage going to select their Ashe and the Lulu for their bot lane combination here. So it looks like Rookter going to be on his Lulu once again.
I like it. I ain't even going to lie. I like it. I'm a fan of Rookter's Lulu. It's pretty good.
Yeah, we'll have to see if he decides to go Dark Steel. He does have that habit, but did not run that the second game last week, I believe second or third game, when he was losing. So might not go into that Dark Steel if he's having a rough lane. On the side of MG Blaze, they're going to finish rounding up their bot lane as well with the Morgana pick. So Morgana Caitlyn, that super dangerous long-range sniping lane. And they're going to pick Sejuani for CPEC in the jungle there, which is his go-to jungler.
So far, MG Blaze's comp is really terrifying. The Sejuani Morg combo, that's Run.
Yeah, and looking at a lot team fight once again for side of MG Blaze. Rampage going to go with J4 for their last pick. That is one of the most played champions here for JJ, also known as PvE. That's the account name he's going by for this game here. And the bans on the second round coming out as well. Rampage going to ban out that Cassiopeia at Zyra. So that's 3 bans leveled at the mid lane for Zyra. Again, MG Blaze going to fire back with a LeBlanc against Squishy Pickle, the mid laner here in the finals for Rawr Rampage.
Now, I don't think this is going to be the case, but what if the Lulu is a flex pick and that's actually a Lulu mid? Because she can do well mid as well.
Yeah, definitely. And we'd have to see if they do decide to do that here. It could be a potentially good pick, but Lulu does fairly decent into Morgana, so it wouldn't be the end of the world if that is a support Lulu. Now, for the final 2 bans here, Rampage going to ban out the Rise, which we've seen Dirty Hobo use to great effect here, and can be flexed the mid to Zyra as well. And on the side of Blaze, they're going to ban the Urgot to stop Deity from getting it. We've seen how devastating it's going to be. And they both decide to pick their mid lanes here. We've got Rampage going with that Orianna, that Wombo combo. And this is a very similar comp to what we've seen from them last week. And MG Blaze now, interesting mid laner. They go with the Corki. I believe they played it once this split for Zyra, but it doesn't really fit the team fight composition. And they're going to potentially round this out with the Maokai, which we've seen almost every team in the league here use to great effect.
You know, I'm not against the Corky pick because you have Maokai, Sejuani, and Morgana for huge chain CC, and then Corky can just either fire off his ult or use the Gatling gun to just shred resistance and just open up the defense for Bubblelift to be able to get in heavy poke.
Yeah, definitely. So that will still synergize very well into the composition here. And on the side of Rawr Rampage, their final pick here going to be that Aatrox in the top lane into the Maokai. So that is a counter pick for Deity in the top lane. So now that we've seen both compositions come out here, we've talked about how good a MG Blazes comp could be, how the Corki could fit into the tons of CC the rest of his team's putting out. What do you think about Rampage's draft?
I actually really like it too because you have a decent ranged initiation with the Ash Arrow. A nice little wombo they have is they have the Cataclysm from J4. Ori can drop the ball onto J4 for a good shockwave in the Cataclysm. And then if anyone is still alive, Lulu ult can provide the knockup and extra stats for J4. A side note is you can also do the same off of the Aatrox, just because of Aatrox's jumps in his kit.
Yeah, so definitely they will have options here, which is always good. So both teams looking quite scary here with their various options. Rawr definitely going to double down onto that 5-man team fight here, both defensively and aggressively. If they can get that initiate that you said with the Cataclysm, with the Orianna ball, the command shockwave into a Cataclysm, that would be epic for them. On the side of MG Blaze, though, they have a very strong engage and they've got really good poke here. We mentioned the Caitlyn Morgana lane, the sniping bot lane, and now you add a Corki on, means they will be able to soften Rampage up a little bit before they engage. And so both teams will be looking for that team fight, but MG Blaze looking to get a bit of poke down before they start that up. Now, that's just their compositions, but, you know, given that the players themselves, we've seen both these teams all split long, and they've got really, really strong players. Luna, who do you think is going to win early, mid, and late here?
With how both comps are set up, that's actually extremely difficult to decide. I think Rampage is definitely going to want to be a little bit more aggressive early, just because the windup on Kate's autos can be a little hurtful. And you know, like you pointed out earlier, Lulu is actually a very strong counter for Morg. Because the Black Shield, it will only stop so much. Once the Black Shield stops, any CC is back on the table. And I mean, the passive from Ashe, I mean, that's, you know, it's huge. She just floats for days. Once we get to mid late game, though, it's really odd because both teams essentially did the same thing. They set up teams that had very good 4-1s, but can still do a very strong 5-man team fight.
Yeah, that is true. The 4-1 option is still available there. We know that that is the style that they have been playing for most of the round robin here. So I guess really we are going to be watching those team fights in the mid game, and that's really what's going to decide the way this game is going to go. And judging by how both teams have played before, they both can get pretty bloodthirsty here. So I'm not expecting to see a long scaling game here. I'm expecting to see the game pretty much decided by about the 30-minute mark here, one way or the other. And with that, the teams are finishing off their lobby here, finishing off their proper picks, and then we will be having the spectator delay as well. So with that, we will be heading into an intermission break, and we'll rejoin all of you back on Summer's Rift in a couple of minutes.
can't trust myself. So don't get me started on anybody else. I'm under your spell, always overthinking. Hold on to me tight and pull me out to the deep end. Barely breathing, so unbreakable. Keeping an eye and circling like an animal. You won't let me go. This part of me, waging a war and it turns out I'm the enemy. I'll never be free. I hear you in the night. It's when you come alive, screaming on the inside. You're inside. Oh, I feel you in my bones, clinging to my soul. I know I'm not alone in the shadow.
And welcome back, everyone. We're back onto Summoner's Rift here. And both teams getting in here. And one thing we kind of didn't talk about in the champion select here is the change in roster. So MG Blaze running their standard 5 here. Dirty Hobo in the top lane, CPEC in the jungle, Zyra in their mid lane, Bubble Lift and Wardbox in their bot lane. But on the side of Rampage with their ever-shifting rosters, we've got Daddy in the top lane, PvE, also known as Barack Osama or Prove Him Wrong or JJ. He goes by many names in the jungle. Squishy Pickle in the mid, and that's a different mid laner from who they've been running the last couple of weeks, Finny. And then the bot lane still Ari, Lutz, and Rookter. So, Luna, what do you know about this new mid laner that pulled out Squishy Pickle here?
Not too much. I think they did play him at some point during the split because the name seems a little familiar. But he is definitely the reason why that Silas ban came through, like straight off the bat, because his Silas off of his OP.GG looks fairly impressive. It's got a 67% win rate. So I mean, I wouldn't want to go against that either.
Definitely, and they also did end up banning a LeBlanc, so it looks like he's a bit of an assassin duelist style mid laner, but he is opting for the Orianna this game, which seems to be more team centric, which feels a lot like it's more of a team sort of decision rather than a personal decision. So we'll have to see how that plays in lane, and we'll have to see whether or not he's very familiar with that bot lane. We do have a bit of a dodging game here, having to dodge all the Piltover Peacemakers and Dark Bindings from Bubble Lift and Wardbox on the side of MG Blaze here. And if they can do that, looks like the bot lane of Ari, Lutz, and Rookter might be able to do well in the top lane. Just two tanks going at it. Surprisingly, Daddy getting the worst of the trades thus far, having hit level 2 at about the same time. And we do see both junglers in the top quadrants of their respective sides. So we might see a bit of action coming out from the junglers.
Yeah, like I think early on, Maokai he out-trades Aatrox just because of his passive. But I do think that mid-late game, Aatrox will eventually outscale Maokai.
And we do see here, as you said, the Maokai winning out in the trades right now, but it's very, very even in how they're trading out. And it looks like the CS also very, very even here. Deity somehow managing to trade up a little bit in there, but we do see PvE now showing up there. There is a ward in that river bush, and he's going to run straight into CPEC here. So instead of the top lanes, we're going to get the jungle fight first. Flag and Drive coming across. CPEC gets the knock up here, and he looks to be possibly winning the trade, but it's going to be a flash from Dirty Hobo to get himself into the fight. And first blood over to CPEC as they trade that over. Daddy now looking to just get out and not wanting to fight the 2v1.
Yeah, definitely some good comms from Dirty Hobo and CPEC. CPEC is probably just like, hey man, there's some stuff going on here. And the Hobo's like, I got you, bro. I got you. Tree on the way. Very good first kill.
And in the bot lane, we also do see the Dark Binding landing onto Ariluch. She's taking a ton of damage. The Ignite comes down, and the last auto will be sufficient to take him down top lane. CPEC revisiting that lane. He already ganked, and Daity's flash goes down. It will not be enough to save him, and they're going to get a second kill in that top lane. This one going over to CPEC as well. So CPEC going to be nice up ahead with his CS and gold there with the double kills.
Yeah, and that's actually something that I really like. For MG Blaze is that's a good gank.
Yeah, the Flag and Drag coming down in the mid lane. Zyra's not going to be able to Valkyrie his way out of that. Will be able to survive, but it's going to be very, very low. And Squishy Pickle going to have advantage in that lane there.
Yeah, so Sejuani can put out a surprising amount of damage early. So the faster that she can get ahead early, the better. It just makes transitioning into the mid game so much easier for Sejuani. And after those few couple of kills, she would definitely be able to better help transition that lead into other lanes.
Definitely, and as you said, that lead does give a surprising burst. We did see CPEC bullying PV out here, but in the bot lane, another binding lands, and it's going to be another load of damage. This time onto Rukter. Rukter taken to less than half health. We'll have to be careful if he gets hit by one more Dark Binding, might go down there. And we were saying that Sejuani winning that trade in the mid lane or near the Raptors between PV and CPEC there is able to chase PV out of the jungle pretty early on. So PV going to have to be careful if he wants to get any more invades off onto CPEC's jungle. And we are seeing a whole bunch of pings into the bot lane. PVE was looking potentially to get a gank off, but will back off as Wardbox and Bubble Lift playing very safely there. Instead, he's going to run into Zyra, and Zyra once again has to be careful. Will be able to Valkyrie himself to safety this time. He had it available, so will stay safe.
Yeah, but that is mana that Zyra is not going to be having, and Zyra is starting to look pretty low in mana, which Corki can be very mana dependent early in the game.
Yeah, we'll still be able to last hit. Nice thing about being an ADC, you still have that last hit option. But bot lane, Rukter getting a ton of damage put on him. The binding actually landed on Ariluch, but Rukter's the one at risk of dying now. A good flash will keep him alive. So that's going to be both flashes down in the bot lane. So there should be easy ganks for the side of MG Blaze if they want to try and get some action there.
Yeah, originally I was definitely giving this bot lane to Rampage actually, but I mean, if they can't dodge those Dark Bindings, then it doesn't really necessarily matter if they have the better lane.
Yeah, and Bubble Lift and Wardbox have been the most dominant bot lane this split across all teams here. So seeing Ariluch and Rukter not being able to dodge those bindings and ending up going down in the lane, not terribly surprising there. We're already seeing a bit of a CS differential coming about 16 CS. It's about 2 waves here, and it's kind of mirrored in the top or opposite in the top lane here. Deity finding himself about a 20 CS lead against Dirty Hobo. So despite having gone down early, he's winning this lane pretty handily right now, and we do see CPEC hovering to the top lane, trying to make sure that Dirty Hobo doesn't go down too easily.
Yeah, Deity definitely put in quite a bit of work, surprisingly, against the Maokai, even with the Maokai passive.
Yeah, so they are going to attempt this gank into the top lane. We see the Maokai ultimate coming up, but it's too slow. Deity able to hop, skip, and jump his way out of there. Now he's turning around. He wants Dirty Hobo. He knows it's a 2-in-1, but he doesn't care. The stun going to come out on CPEC, and it will stop Deity's aggression temporarily. And for that attempt gank in the top lane, Rampage is going to punish them by taking the first Drake of the game. And that's going to be an Ocean Drake over to the side of Rampage early.
Yeah, very good call by Rampage to take that Drake, and I like the attempted gank as an answer from CPEC because he must realize we don't have Dragon Prio right now. We're just going to have to give this one over. So we'll just try to pick up elsewhere. And it, like I said, it was a good attempt, but Deity at the time had level advantage, so...
Yeah, and now with that level advantage, he also has a massive health advantage as well. So Dirty Hobo will definitely be forced under his turret and even back to base. And he doesn't have his teleport available this time. Did use it earlier. Another binding landing onto Rooster in the bot lane there. The Chubb's coming down, the ignite, and this time it is going to be a kill. Warfox has to be careful he doesn't go down, but should be safe because Ari Lutz is going to end up stepping on a trap and taking extra damage from Bubble Lift. It's a trade between the ADCs, the ace in the hole coming out, and it will be enough to pick up a double kill in the bot lane for Bubble Lift.
Yeah, you hate to see it. That was very well played by MG Blaze. It was very good dark binding. Nice answer with the ace in the hole to secure the kill. Man, Warbox is just on his game tonight.
Yeah, PvE this time, the target off that dark binding. Bubble Lip was backing off, will not place the trap underneath, so they will just get the poke damage and be happy to base here. They do want to pick up their items. Bubble Lift sitting on a Kershey Shard and the Berserker's Grease, but now has finally picked up that BF Sword after the double kill, so will have a lot more lane dominance as compared to Ari Lutz, who just picked up the Caulfield Hammer, so will be down in terms of items and will be struggling to fight those 2v2s in the bot lane without pressure. And so right now, I'm looking at the junglers. The Herald will be coming in about 5 minutes, the Dragon in about 3, so there's no major objectives. Where do you think the attention is going to be for both teams in the next couple of minutes here?
That's a good question, because like I said, there's no major objectives coming up. I do think that since bot lane does have, they are missing an ult, and they both have flash, but their heal and ignite is down, so PvE might look for something bot, especially because Ari Lutz just got the Ashe ult available, so if there's a time to try to set that up, it might be now, but instead it looks like Sedge is bot side.
Yeah, and I guess MG Blaze must be reading out the same playbook as you are, because we do see Dirty Hobo walking into that bot lane instead, potentially looking for that counter gang. There is no dragon here, but they might be setting up for a dive. There's 4-man here, and Zyro is looking to rotate to the bot lane as well. Ari Lutz and Rukter doing very well to back off early, but instead the flash from Dirty Hobo, he's trying to force Ari Lutz out of the turret there, does get the knockup. But a flash from Ari Lutz will keep her safe. The ace in the hole just not going to be able to gather, but it doesn't matter. The Glacial Prison instead will from CPEC as he goes flashing in, throwing out that Glacial Prison. The Bola landing will pick up the kill onto Ari Lutz, and they have dropped Shelly in that bot lane as well. Did get the first turret, and they're looking to potentially get 2 turrets off this push here. So that's going to be 2 turrets on top lane. Deity desperately trying to get damage down, but he doesn't have Shelly, so will not be able to answer. That's 2 for 0 in terms of turrets, and they're looking to potentially get a third, but they have to be careful. They're getting collapsed on here. PvE going in. The Shockwave going to catch 2. The Cataclysm going to lock them down. That's Bubble Lift dead right away. PvE soon to follow, and now Wardbox the next target, but Deity has arrived. The teleport is good. They do pick up a 4-for-1 there on the side of Rampage, so they will be able to turn some things over at least. And it's Quadrico, all 4 going on to Squishy Pickle.
Yeah, that Quadro was nasty. That's weird. I don't know why MG Blaze decided to try to push for that 3rd turret. I feel like that was a little greedy. I mean, I can kind of get the mindset because they were all really healthy, and it did force the teleport out of Deity, but giving a Quadra over to an Orianna, I mean, she just got a ton of gold off of that. So that's going to be a huge boost for Rampage.
Yeah, and if we had any questions about Squishy Pickle's ability to perform on that Orianna compared to the Assassin picks that his OPGG shows that he likes to play, I think they have been put to rest temporarily here, as that beautiful command Shockwave and distance to follow up did manage to net him that Quadra really early into the game. Now the Dragon is up. It is a Mountain Drake, and it looks like MG Blaze has the inside track on this one, so they will be able to potentially pick this up. PvE is in the area looking to contest that, but he won't be able to get the steal. Instead, the Dragon gonna go over the way of MG Blaze, but the fight has started. Squishy Pickle gonna pick himself yet another kill, this time onto Warbox, and the fight is going on. Really Hobo has arrived, does get the roots down, and it's gonna be a lot of CC. He catches all 5 in different areas there. Squishy Pickle now gonna go down instead, giving his bounty over, but Deity is firing back. They pick up Zyra and CPEC, both of them down, and it looks like Rampage potentially winning this one. Bubble dodging everything, will eventually get taken down by the auto attack, and it's just going to be Dirty Hobo left here. We'll be able to pick Rook up in the back line, but Deity and PvE have the damage, have the CC, will shut them down in an extended ace here. So that's going to be a 5-for-3 here in one of the messiest fights we've seen this game.
Yeah, that fight was definitely all over the place. Definitely good comms by Rampage. They swapped targets when they needed to. They saved Maokai for last. And that is what you want to do in fights like that. Because if you just keep targeting him, he's just going to keep healing any chance he gets. So, instead of targeting him while he's healing, you target the damage, take out the damage, and then take care of Maokai. That's the best way to do it.
Yeah, and that's definitely how Rampage did in that fight. They went straight for Ward Boss because he was easy and accessible, then went for Bubble Lift. They threw everything in the kitchen sink at him, and then on to Zyra, and it worked really, really well for them there. As you said, with Maokai is the only one standing. He doesn't have the damage to get all the kills. Did manage to take Rook down at the end of that fight at least, and it looks like fights right now going the side of Rampage's way. They've managed to claw their way back after losing both the turrets in the bot lane. They're only about 1.5k gold deficit right now, which is mostly from those two turrets going down. They have yet to pick themselves up a turret, but I think they'll be happy for now just to farm it up and get themselves back into the game.
Yeah, definitely. Like, that quadra that Squishy Pickle got, that set up the opening for that fight for Deity to get those few kills that he just got as well. So it's knowing how to use your leads and give it to your teammates as well. And that's definitely going to be huge at this point in the game.
Dirty Hobo not doing well in that 1v1 because Daddy did manage to pick himself up quite a bit of gold. Built a very, very early executioners there to try and cut the healing from the Maokai passive. So in that 1v1 he will be winning, but there is a teleport advantage on the side of MG Blaze on Dirty Hobo there. So they will have to be careful because Hobo can just potentially get out and command Shockwave, attempt to kill on Bubble Lift, but the Caliber net is good, will get Caitlyn out to safety, and Pickle, that means Squishy Pickle's ultimate is going to be down for that next fight here.
Yeah, that's true, but I'm pretty sure, I mean, it looks like it's a fairly low cooldown, because it's already almost halfway done
And
on
in
its
the
cooldown
back,
timer.
Maokai ultimate coming out, looking like he might fancy this fight against Daddy, but Daddy's World Ender comes on, and Dirty Hobo is forced to go running, cannot handle it in the trade out for out, and Dirty Hobo is looking to just stick around, so Daddy will have to extend out very, very far if he wants to keep shoving this wave.
Yeah, I definitely like the option for the Black Cleaver on Deity, because that's definitely giving him a lot more damage as the fight drags on.
And the damage might be good here. Dirty Hobo forced the flash. He's almost under turret, but will it be enough? Will it be safe? Because Daddy just wants to keep on going, but it looks like he doesn't have the flash available, doesn't have any more movement abilities, and will just back out there, almost getting the solo kill onto Dirty Hobo, and will be glad he at least forced the flash out. This teleport should be coming up as well soon, so that's one of the teleport advantage difference in the top lane there going to be neutralized, and both top laners will have the teleport to the next one.
Yeah, and with Dragon coming up soon, with Inferno being the sole dragon for the game, I'm pretty sure both teams are going to be very happy to contest it.
Yeah, both teams here having shown a lot of focus on to those dragons, not afraid to fight either way. We do see Zyra split pushing the top lane. He did take the teleport summoner spell, so will be able to use that, but it's currently on cooldown, so if they do start this dragon up in the next 20 seconds when it spawns, it won't have it available. On the bright side though, they will be able to pick the third turret of the game up right now. Rampage has not managed to get a single turret yet.
That's true, but it is starting to get to like once we get to the 20-minute mark, the cooldown timers do start to kind of drag out, and I mean it just takes one really good ace to get 3 turrets, potentially.
Speaking of the ace, the Ash Arrow coming out with the Black Shield is good. We'll keep them alive. It's going to be the Glacial Prison instead. Come out to Daddy. PvE has initiated the Cataclysm, but he is a low. Command Shockwave comes in. They get 3, but everybody's going to survive the Command Shockwave. Instead, they will not survive the World Ender from Daddy as he hops to the backline. Managed to pick up both Bubble Lift and CPEC, and we see Zyra going down to Ari Lutz. Ari Lutz putting out that damage safely in the backline. Will manage to melt through Dirty Hobo. The tree gets hacked down, and they're going to switch right over to that Inferno Drake. So once again, Rampage showing really strong team fight here. Now, Warboss has to be careful. They're looking to potentially get a snipe, but will instead land the binding onto Squishy Pickle and will dodge that ball, but will remain the only person alive from MG Blaze.
Yeah, and I mean, like I was saying, it's just like, it just takes one really strong fight like that, and all of a sudden you have the world open to you. That was a very good attempt to stop the initiation by MG Blaze by canceling out the Crystal Arrow from Ash with Black Shield, but unfortunately, Rampage had the answer with being able to drop the Cataclysm ball delivery service into a beautiful shockwave that just set up for the rest of Rampage. Very good play.
Yeah, right now, PV and Daddy sneaking that Herald. Zyra walked right by, but didn't actually see them doing it. So Rampage going to be able to sneak the Herald, and they're going to give it over to the side of PvE. So hopefully they will be able to get their first start of the game. Daddy using the World Ender, going on to Bubble Lift, but he's taking a lot of damage here. The Black Shield will keep Bubble Lift safe, and we do see the teleport instead coming out from Dirty Hobo. But there's nothing here to find. He does have the Maokai out available, but it might be too slow to catch anybody, and we get a bit of a 4v4 in the mid lane as Daddy is now running top to try and deal with the split push from Zyra.
Yeah.
Ooh. And we do see Dirty Hobo getting snared up, rooted up, and he'll have to use the wild rope to keep himself alive. PvE gonna tank the ace in the hole, and he's diving into the background again. Doesn't even reach the flag, and drags him straight to the depths of hell. And now Squishy Pickle, the target here, he's getting knocked up, pushed up from the turret. Double's gonna pick up a double kill, potentially a triple here, as he takes out Ari Lutz as well. And everything was going up Rampage till that happened, and now suddenly it's a 3 for 0. They're pushing in the mid lane.
Yeah, it's right now, with how the teams are playing, it's whichever team can catch someone first. Because those were beautiful catches by MG Blaze.
Yeah, and Rookter, the one getting caught first, going to be the only one left alive for the side of Rampage, but he can't stop the push. They've taken the outer and inner turrets, 2 turrets in the mid lane here, and they will get the third. The inhibitor turrets won't be able to stay around to pick up the inhibitor, though, as Rampage is coming up right now, but still, that's all the turrets in the mid lane broken down, and suddenly the doors of Rampage have been cracked open here.
Yeah, that was definitely a very well played move from MG Blaze.
And the game so back and forth. Just a moment ago, Rampage was catching up in gold, was even in gold with MG Blaze, and suddenly we see MG Blaze up about 4,500 gold almost in just one solid push there on the side of Rampage. They've got 0 turrets to MG Blaze's 6. They do have the Eye of the Herald, and the question is, where are they going to use it? All the turrets for MG Blaze right now still fairly healthy. They're going to shut down the mid lane without the Herald, but it's a question of whether they can get it or not, because Bubble Lift has arrived. We'll be able to clear out those minion waves really effectively, and they're going to leave Daddy in that top lane, pushing the top. PvE wandering about, hasn't quite decided where to drop the Herald, might potentially drop it top to join the push with Daddy there.
Yeah, I think that would be the best call at this point. Yep, there it goes.
Yeah, so the top lane will have Shelly pushing both Daddy and PvE backing off though, but it will be enough to take their first turret of the game, and they're finally on the board in terms of turrets. Will help to alleviate some of that gold difference. Now Zyra stuck in the enemy side jungle real deep, but the Valkyrie is good, will be able to stay out alive, and that's it. Instead it's upon the mid lane as CPEC going to start Deity, and Bubble Lift going to put down the damage. So Command Shockwave here onto Bubble Lift is good. Will get the kill, and now CPEC's running for the hills. He's really tanky though, and they're having problems cutting through his health bars. The flag and drag over as he chases, but there's no Cataclysm available. It was used earlier onto Warbox, so will remain safe. And Dirty Hobo with the teleport. Oh, sorry, he wasn't even a teleport. He just walked in all the way from the top lane. Will be able to find Squishy Pickle, who was deep in. Will get killed there in that fight, and CPEC Going to pick up the kill onto Deity as well. Now PvE, one more flag and drag again into the backline, but this time will not be able to get out all right and will die. So Rampage starting that out really well. The catch onto Zyra, turning around, picking up Bubble Lift, and in the end, now they're suddenly down 3-1 in terms of kills.
Yeah, I feel like that it was a very good starting out play from Rampage. It did start to look very clean, but once Zyra got there, I feel like their communication just kind of fell, it just kind of bottomed out, and all of a sudden, they were just kind of split everywhere. You had multiple people on two different targets, and I'm just like, hello?
Yeah, they do have a massive teamfight composition, but they split like that. As you said, they will have problems in Dirty Hobo taking them nowhere, but it wasn't necessary. The rest of this team has a lot of damage. They will be able to shred through that Inferno to pick themselves up the second Drake of the game, but suddenly in the inhibitor in the mid lane's down, so there will be super minions shoving into Rampage's base here. The Baron is up, and neither team having great vision on the Baron or the Baron approach right now. Rampage has at least two of the entrances warded, so might potentially be able to spot out MG Blaze if they decide to go for it, but there is a ward in their base as well, so they'll have to be careful of TP backdoors from either Zyra or Dirty Hobo on the side of MG Blaze.
Right, and with that inhib down, it definitely picks the pace of the game up significantly, because if MG Blaze isn't able to transition this lead into the other lanes, then that's just free gold off of the super minions for Rampage. So that, in a sense, could actually benefit them.
Instead, we have catches on two sides here. Rookter getting caught out by Maokai, and we do see Wardbox getting caught out by PvE, and it looks like they will be able to finally take Wardbox out this time. The split fight this time going in the favor of Rampage will net them a 1-for-0 kill, and that will buy them a bit of time. They will have a numbers advantage. They're going to send, looks like Ari Lutz potentially going back. No, they're going to ping Baron and send Squishy Pickle back instead. Deity there to zone them out. MG Blaze not wanting to give this Baron over, is in position to stop the take. Bubble Lift is up, Zyra is up, so they have two damage dealers, and Dirty Hobo and CPEC, the two main tanks, are up as well. We'll be able to control this Baron zone here, and instead, Rampage is going to fall back and just try and push out the super minions in the mid wave instead.
Yeah, I like this call from Rampage to fall back, because not only does MG Blaze have their two tanks up, but CPEC is up a level on PvE. So it would definitely be very difficult for PvE to get the Smite steal.
And unfortunately, Rampage did not manage to get vision down onto that, so they're going to throw the Enchanted Crystal Arrow out. Will spot out MG Blaze doing it. They have the Hawkshot available as well, and so now MG Blaze is going to have to be careful. They are taking damage. Instead, Deity is the one who's going to get that. Find it up. Warbox flashing in, getting the show shackles, but he went in. The rest of the team went out, and he will go down to Ari Lutz. PvE initiating on the backline with the Cataclysm. They get a beautiful 4-man command shockwave into the backlines, which will be able to net Ari Lutz a double kill. They're going to continue the chase here. Deity going into that. Bubble Lift really low. Zyra really low. Bubble Lift turned around. He shouldn't have. He took one look at back there and ended up dying. Now CPEC will not be able to get out the Ash with the slows for days, and suddenly it's a 4-for-1 in favor of Rampage. Baron is on the table. Only Zyra left alive. They do have to watch out. They have two super minions leading waves into the base right now. They might lose a Nexus turret for this, but this is still going to be a Baron for the side of Rampage. PvE has respawned. We'll be able to save that Nexus turret there, so it should be fine. Zyra now on a mission here, potentially a suicidal one as he's running in. We do see Squishy Pickle basing as well. He's going to load the Valkyrie here with the package. Zyra is in there, and Daddy taking a ton of damage, but will go down to Ari Lutz. He gets the double kill. The package is good. That's going to be 3 as they manage to kill Ari Lutz as well. Dirty Hobo going to be able to pick that up. And MG Blaze is going to say thank you to that. PvE is up, though, potentially looking to make sure he can secure this, but CPEC running in as well. As you mentioned, CPEC was up a level there even now, but they don't have enough vision, and Baron's just going to keep hitting Dirty Hobo. Dirty Hobo tanky enough that he can just ignore the bulk of it, and it's now a 3-on-2, 4-on-2 as CPEC finally arrives. Rampage going to have to be really, really careful with the if they can get the first down. The flag and drag might potentially come down. The flag and drag coming in. Warthog's right now. He gets the steal. And Rawr the side of Rampage. And Squishy Pickle just trying to stay alive now. PvE sacrifices life for this Baron. They don't want to lose it. And Dirty Hobo does get the root onto him. Bubble Lift goes down. He went for the last hit, but he was the one lost. Instead, they're going to trade Squishy Pickle for Bubble Lift. Instead, the chaos here. And it's going to be a 2-for-2 at the end of that. 3 people alive, but Baron on the side of Rampage.
Holy. Alright. Wow. Well played by PvE on that steal. That was, oh man, that was outstanding. Anyone chat, clip that. That is a clip. Easy.
Definitely one of the potentially best steals of the league. This split, that was extremely clutch. And, you know, we had made fun of PvE in the past, especially last week, for being a PvE player, not interacting with his lanes, opting to just go for objectives. But if that's what doing that does, gets you these Barons, then by all means, that is definitely the way to go. Instead, we see the slow coming down now onto Ari Lewis. The Dark Binding comes out, but the teleport's coming from Deities to Warbox and CPAC. Don't want to engage onto this, and Dirty Hobo is running up now to that Inferno Drake. Inferno is the Drake here for the rest of the game. Both teams will want it for the damage boost here. Drakes at this point in the game are not very tanky. Will get bursted down very quickly, but it's going to be Squishy Pickle here, catching himself in a bit of a pickle. Will try and command Shockwave, but will not be able to get it. Now his team has to fight a 4v5. That is super tanky in the backline, doing a ton of damage on the Dirty Hobo. PvE does the flag and drag, but this time he doesn't have the command Shockwave to follow up, so he will just go down instead, and that's now a 3-4-0. They had Baron, but they might end up losing turrets right now, as MG blazes all 5 up and are looking to push.
Yeah, this game is suspenseful. Like, geez, that was such a good pick from MG Blaze to catch Squishy out like that. Really good call to just immediately blow him up.
And Squishy taking a bit of a shortcut there, a bit risky there. It will cost his team both inhibitors here in the mid and bot lane, only the top lane having turrets right now. Now the team of Rampage is coming up right now, so they will be able to stop the push after just losing one Nexus turret, but they will have to be careful on this fight. The Cataclysm is available. The Command Shockwave is available for the side of Rampage. They have their Rumble combo. The Enchanted Crystal Arrow, however, not yet up, so they won't have that long range initiate. And they'll now have to once again turtle up and defend their base. The good news is there's no objective on the map for the next 3 minutes. Baron going to be about 3 minutes and 15 seconds. Dragon going to be 3.5 minutes, and did manage to get that Inferno, so they will put themselves at soul point here for Infernal Soul.
Yeah, like right now, if you're Rampage, I think you're just playing out to get Soul and possibly Elder, and then just go for the Ace, and then the run it down play.
And Tidy with the cheeky steal onto the blue buff, just walks in, picks it up, and Dirty Hobo going to be one sad tree as he uses his ultimate to desperately stop Daddy from getting in there. Will give it out instead.
Yeah, I kind of question that. You definitely want that ult available for the next fight. I mean, ideally, it should still be off cooldown before any of the major objectives are up, so it's not really that much of an issue. But, I don't know, there have been times where random skirmishes just come up and all of a sudden you don't have your ult and it costs your team.
That is true, and we'll have to see if the side of Rampage is able to take advantage of that very, very small window. The ultimate is already more than halfway off cooldown at this point, so we'll have to see. And the MG Blaze does make the first move into that top lane inner turret. Will be able to take it down before Rampage can quite respond. Daddy forced to sit in that bot lane and push out the minion waves. So the rest of his team going to try and stop the push here. The wombo combo from the Cataclysm Command Shockwave is available, but Deity has been the biggest sort of bomb going off into the back line there. So if he's not available, they might not be able to get the damage on. The poke coming out from Corki and his big ones right now doing a lot of damage. Squishy Pickle and Ari Lutz have to be careful. They can't tank up too many of those. Dirty Hobo going to continue his push in the mid lane. We're going to walk the super minions in. So the 4v4 in the top wave. And they will
it just depends on
tear down.
Just depends on who can pull the trigger first.
And it looks like it's going to be MG Blaze pulling the trigger. The Glacial Prison onto PvE, gets him melted down right away. Squishy Pickle going to get hit up by the Maokai ultimate. Will use the Zhonya's Hourglass, and we'll be able to get the Command Shockwave off, but it's not onto the carries. Now it's a double kill for Zyra. Potentially triple. Are they going to die this? No, that's going to still be a double for Zyra there, and they will get the shutdown as Bubble steps a little too close. Will not matter. The Nexus is the target here. Rufter getting knocked out. Dirty Hobo trading his life for that, and it's going to be game for MG Blaze in a super exciting back and forth seesaw match between MG Blaze and Rawr Rampage.
Yeah, very well played. Now here's the question. We've seen MG Blaze throughout the season be able to beat Rampage in the best of one. Can they do it again? Can they beat them in the next game, or is it going to be Rampage finally getting their first win against MG Blaze?
Yeah, we've definitely said it before. It's a game of inches between both these teams here, and Rampage definitely showing that they are there to fight as well. And if you look at those quick damage charts there, Dirty Hobo doing a lot of damage. We've seen this multiple times last week when Dirty Hobo got his hands on the Maokai. He's really, really good at it. Deity did manage to win the lane, doing even more damage and a huge threat, but the sheer utility of having that Maokai seems to be really helpful from them. And the Glacial Prisons coming out of CPEC were on point, constantly getting those initiates. And if we look at the damage here, Sejuani actually ended up doing more damage than J4, so PvE struggling to find the damage, struggling to stay alive in these fights here.
Right. Like, if I had to say that there is an MVP champion throughout the season, it's definitely Maokai. I feel like Maokai gets very underrated, and people just kind of forget about how good it actually is right now.
For sure. So going into game 2 right now, do you think either team need to make changes? Do you think this win was more just down to execution? Like, what do you think we should be looking for going to game 2 here, Luna?
I definitely think it's execution. MG Blaze, they had a few better picks. And Rampage, unfortunately, there were a few times where they were just slightly out of position. Or like you pointed out earlier, Squishy Pickle, they went for the risky play, and unfortunately it did cost them. So if they might have played that just a little safer, then Rampage might have actually turned that fight and won that particular team fight. Possibly might have led to them winning the game. Hard to say, though. Very hard to say.
Yeah, so definitely an extremely good series here. 30 kills for the side of MG Blaze, 24 for the side of Rawr Rampage here in a 32-minute games. Neither team wanting to give an inch here, and that led to a lot of these extended back and forth fights. The objective count here was also fairly even, though turrets were definitely controlled by the side of MG Blaze. So with that, we will be heading into an intermission as both teams take a bit of a break to set up for game 2 here. And we'll see you guys in a couple to see what game 2 brings.